just give an opening comment about this past weekend's game.
Yeah, I'm humble, humble defeat from our rivals, in-state rivals. Without question, they were the more superior team. I would like for us to have a bit better performance. They dominated us on both sides of the football. Pretty much won all 3 years of the game. I thought our kicking game, our punting game primarily wasn't bad. It helped us, with some field position at times. We just could not capitalize on that and move the ball, extend plays on offense, or make some big plays. Defensively, we tried to slow them down with different types of looks, pressures, what have you. But they were just far superior for us than us this past Saturday. So humble defeat, live and learn, and we'll move on.
Is there things that you can learn from a game like that?
Absolutely. After going back and watching the film, we weren't too sure in the third quarter. What players were playing hard, fighting, what have you, and we were. And we do have some. We have some kids that are just that are fighters. It was just that we're so outmanned that we just could not overcome. Also, just about perseverance, the mentality of your football team playing with a lot of young players. I was pleased to see some things into the fourth quarter. Like I said, they were just far superior than us, and there's not much we could have done outside of what happened.
I could be wrong. This might be my opinion, but Saturday after the game, you probably looked at as defeated as I've ever seen 3 years I've been around. Is that accurate to say? And if so, how do you make sure that the kids don't pick up on it the next day? Because you guys still have another game to play.
No question. Well, on Saturday, we addressed the team, and I told them about pride. And there's a saying that I got from somewhere about pride compels you to do the best at all times. And I want to let them know that, we as coaching staff, myself, we take pride in the school, what we represent, our work at NCCU football, and they should as well in their preparation and how they play the game. And that the sun did come up Sunday, and we have another task in front of us. And we've got to rally around each other and play for pride. Play for pride. I felt that our passion went away a little bit. I kind of know why some of that is gone, and we have to regain some of that for this final game. And so I tried to lead the way by being passionate about what we do and who we represent, and hopefully there'll be a continuation of that at today's practice.
Well, why is it instead of passionate?
Well, I mean, you lose some guys on both sides of the ball. Primarily, Chauncey is one of our biggest emotional leaders. He's the one young man that can lift others in his play, in his enthusiasm. We have a couple others like that, but no one does it quite like him. And I sensed that after the first game that he did not come back, that it was really tough to maintain that. Isaiah Totten does it in a very quiet, strong way, but at times if he's not having success, it's hard for everybody else to kind of pick up on that.
Coach, what has it been like the last couple of days after that game?
Well, it's been tough. It was tough. That's our rivals. I knew they were the better team, certainly on paper. I did not realize that we had slipped off that far, and we have. And at this point in time of the year, we're playing with some different group of guys. But just in my spirit, in my time here, just being used to it being a competitive game, it just did not sit right with me. Just the fashion and how they beat us, and I think we do have to evaluate and look at some things, within our program. In the off season, we'll address that, and just I guess normal human emotion, just a disappointment.
Obviously, I think I said it Saturday. The good news is there is one more game left for you to take that game out. The seniors, obviously, they'll approach it like their last game ever. But how do you make sure the younger guys don't mail it in, and have already checked out for this final week?
That's a great question. And when you're dealing with young student athletes, it's always it's a catch-22 kind of thing. I think what we have to do is we got to find ways to motivate them in practice, and put a purpose in front of them. You're playing for a future. There's things at stake. Your position, other people beating you out, showing what you're made of. And we have some young men who are trying to earn a scholarship, or increase scholarship, and those are good motivational factors. And just again to have pride, have a chance to win the final football game, and I'm going to count and lean on the seniors to bring that leadership, to coach those younger guys up. Hey, look, I want to go out and win in this one game. I just want the ones I will remember, and I think that's a good start.
I don't know for sure. I'm later Hughes coach South Carolina State. I don't know if he'll be back. So I those guys, it's their last one game, so they'll be playing the seniors. again, you have to preach that this week. It's going to be intense. We have to match their intensity or exceed their intensity.
Well, yeah, I mean, South Carolina State has always been known as a physical football team, and the film does not lie. That we've got 5, 6, 7 games of them demonstrating that, whether they won or lost. And so, we've already told them this is going to be a physical football game. We're being so banged up, it's really hard for us to prepare in a physical manner, I think, but now it's really from the eyebrows out and heart. And so if you have an understanding and know what's coming, you can prepare in that way. And that's just the nature of their game. All the other things like you mentioned about it being their last senior day and Coach Pugh possibly entering retirement, I'm sure there'll be some emotion in that. We'll have to match that. As far as Coach Pugh goes, great man. I know he's been the dean of the MEAC conference now for the last, since I've been here, and with Coach Broadway. And I know he leads quite a few of our meetings and whatnot when we meet in Norfolk. Quality gentleman, first class. Will share with you everything he has. The thing that I get a kick out whenever I've ran into one or two of his former players and mentioned it's what you want to be remembered for. You could tell he was significant because the comments and compliments are always about how he treated them. That they won football games and championships, but it's always been what an inspiration he was, what a father figure he was. Those are things that's what this is about, and that's what our purpose to do. That's why I want to be the head football coach in North Carolina Central going forward, because I feel I have those qualities. I feel like I have a lot to offer in that area to develop young man, to complete entire student athlete, and Coach Pugh was a great example of that.
This last week, the physical part, the hitting and the X and O's, all year, but this week, are you and your staff coaching more, like you said, above the eyebrows between the ears for the guys for this last game?
We have to. I'm not going to reveal any information just yet, but we just have to. Our personnel is in such a way that it would be ridiculous and certainly negligent of me to go out and try to have hard hitting practices, and don't know what you might see on Saturday if we tried to do that.
You guys anything special the last week of seniors last practice?
That's another good question. I'm sure it's not a big secret around here. My time here was introduced to me when I came aboard with Coach Mack that the Thursday before the A&T game, or usually that final home game, we have sort of like it's a bonfire ceremony, a ritual in which one of the seniors is being introduced by a teammate of his choice, a good friend, and that's a 30-second introduction, and then they are allowed. They come up for about 2 to 3 minutes and talk about their time here, what Central has meant to them, and just some advice going forward for some of the younger players, and that's always a very inspirational, teary-eyed time because as a coach, you see the commitment, you see how quick the time has gone by, and you appreciate them even more in that setting.
Normally this week, your season is over.
Yeah.
But this time around, you're still playing a game and it's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
What y'all do on Thanksgiving?
Well, what we're allowed to do, what we're doing is some of the young men who are local, with an hour and a half drive or so, they'll be allowed to. We'll practice this afternoon, then tomorrow, Lord willing, we'll practice in the morning, and then we'll have another AM practice on Thursday, so that those guys who are local can go home and have Thanksgiving with their families. For the 15 or so who are way out of state and don't have family in the immediate area, we're providing a Thanksgiving dinner. And Dr. McCree's been gracious to put up the funds for that in athletics with the cafeteria, and we're going to try and make a homey feeling of it as best as possible. I know some of the coaches are having players, over their homes as well, and for those who want that type setting. So we've got a mixed bag of everything to try and keep as much as the Thanksgiving holiday feeling while we prepare to play this final game.
Yes, that's pretty good. You guys, was that one more thing on your plate, no pun intended, this week, in addition to preparing for a game?
Yeah, it is. Again, it's logistically just one of those things to work out. I would have liked, to under a little better circumstances in the one-loss record to feel like a bowl game, without the gifts and some of the celebratory things that come with that. But that's what you're doing. You're structuring practices with the school not being in earlier on to give the young men time to get off their feet, give some of the coaches time to celebrate, be with their families, those sort of things, keeping that in mind. At the same time, just trying to make the whole entire setting as a home feel as possible for those young men who are unable to be with their families this time.
It's not a bowl game, but how much is this last game extension into the spring, into the next season?
That's a great. That's how I'm looking at it. The thing is because of the new 4-year, because of the new redshirt rule or how many games you can play, you have to be careful and how many young people you do play. And we're just at a place where we don't have a choice but to play quite a few of them. As much as possible, we're looking to get some development practices, out of these next couple of days. As the longer we can practice, I just see it as a benefit going into the off season. There's going to be some carryover. I've got to feel that way. I do feel that way, and just going to try to get the most out of it as possible.
I guess we'll be talking Saturday, but can you just speak on this senior class and the guys? I think these things probably won 3 championships and they've done this program.
Well, there's a place near and dear in my heart for Devontae Reynolds. Just his commitment. He's been a pleasure to coach and teach and mentor, and he's done an exceptional job in his time here, in my opinion. And people don't see a lot of what he does, I believe, off the field as well. I'm not saying he's like Nick Leverett, but carries himself well, works hard in the classroom. I think another young man that really has overcome that. It's just a try guy. Is King Kyaku. I'm grateful for him being around. He's had to watch a lot of guys, play in front of him, but he's overcome, and he's always what I say survived and found a way to get on the field. Always being indebted to those guys. Jaquel Taylor on the defensive side of the ball. As a young man, I certainly enjoyed being around the last 4 years as well. And I'm sorry the names kind of fail me right now, but surely appreciative of all their effort and what they've done for NCCU, and leaving here with a degree and what we have done with them in the last 4 or 5 years, I feel is going to prepare them for a life after football.
South Carolina State, they have the second leading rush offense in the league, and ironically, their leading rusher and the second leading rusher in the conference is their quarterback. Can you talk about their offense with that?
Tyree Snick right here. That's enemy number one. I just haven't really slept quite as nice as I would have liked. Figure out how we're going to stop this young man. I think the deadliest thing in football is the RPO and the quarterback with the ball in his hand having the opportunity to run or pass. People do not realize how much pressure that can put on the defense. And he is a strong runner, very capable passer. And, we're just going to have to find ways to contain him. I don't know if you ever stop him. The plan defensively is to try and surround him with numbers and slow him down. And then he's got, 1 or 2 backs back there, the Means kid, another young man that they're just power runners. They can run through arm tackle. And so we're going to have to challenge our guys defensively. You're going to have to put your body in front of them. If you want a chance to slow them down, put your body. I know Mr. Cartwright got a hold of us a little bit, but I thought in the early going, we didn't do a bad job of corralling him at times. We're just going to have to be more consistent in that area versus South Carolina State.
This has been an exclusive presentation of the NCCU Sports Network.